Are you tired of being around people who just don't get you? Have you been putting yourself out there but not able to find anybody that matches your vibe? You're not alone. Making friends, especially as an adult, is hard. My name's Coach Lee. I'm a social connections coach, and I want to help you find your tribe. I have a 3-step coaching program for groups and individuals that's designed to help you get to the right place, to meet the right people, to have the right kind of conversations that leave you feeling fulfilled, appreciated, and understood. After going through the Find Your Tribe coaching program, you'll discover who it is that you really want to be connected to, how to find those people, and what you need to talk about so that your relationship moves from an acquaintanceship to a close friendship. And with this program, you won't be on this journey alone. You'll have access to a private community in which there are others who are just as intentional about making the kind of connections you are. You'll also have access to live events like weekly Q&As, speed friending, and much more. You'll be able to practice your skills in a safe environment and feel confident to connect authentically when you get out into the real world. If you're ready to get started on making meaningful connections and lasting relationships, then apply to the coaching program by using the link in the show notes. What's going on? My name's Coach Lee Hopkins. My pronouns are he, him, his, and you're listening to the Patterns of Possibility podcast. This is a podcast dedicated to helping you replace harmful patterns with new possibilities. In each episode, we'll explore topics that inspire you to be yourself, live your truth, and make lasting connections. In this week's episode, I'm going to talk about these 8 categories of toxic friendships. And if you listened to the show before, you know that I don't really subscribe to the idea of someone being inherently a toxic, bad, evil person. I don't subscribe to that idea. The way I subscribe to toxicity is essentially you want to change something about their behavior, and that's what makes the friendship toxic. So people aren't toxic per se. The relationship will be toxic, if that makes sense. Anyway, I'm going to talk about these 8 things that pop culture says are toxic, and then we'll dissect them. Are you ready? Let's go. So this episode is all about owning our own behaviors and recognizing that there are some things that we do and other people do that impact us in a way that we don't desire. I like saying that better than I like saying that somebody is toxic. But I think that is the narrative, the language that people are using. But if we could break that apart and say that there are a set of actions and behaviors that this person does that doesn't feel good to me, I don't like it, and I want to change it. And that's where your relationship becomes toxic. Just as a mature growth in looking at those situations, if I label that person as toxic, they're bad, they're unfixable, they're not fuckable with. You know what I mean? We want to be around people who bring us joy. And that toxic person could have said with quotes, toxic person with quotes can change their behaviors and become a person who is doing things to support you. But the way we go about it and trying to make that change manifest in our relationships makes it toxic. And then it makes us toxic, essentially, because now we're trying to change someone who's doing things that they do naturally, and how we appear to them is hurtful and critical, and how they appear to us is hurtful too. Like, they did it first, they hurt us first, and so we appear to them as being hurtful and critical. And they dig their heels in and we dig our heels in, and we get locked into these patterns of behavior where we're just continuing to do things to change each other, and nobody wants to be told that they're bad and wrong. So I just wanted to put that out there at the top of this episode, because I am talking about toxicity, but this is the way I view it, and I understand that the larger narrative around toxicity isn't the same as what I'm saying. I'm saying there are behaviors that we don't like rather than the person we don't like. Pop culture is just labeling, well, the entire friend, just throw them the fuck away. The whole thing, just throw them all away. And so we don't want to do that. But this is about, this comes from my own reflection and my behaviors, because I changed. I was a toxic person. I wanted to change people, and I didn't want to change. I didn't want people to tell me what to do or how to be. I thought I was getting along just fine. I was like, I don't need any therapy. Who needs that stuff? I don't need any therapy. That's for people who don't know what they want to do with their life, or that's for people with no direction, or that's for weird people. It's certainly not for me. I don't have any problems like that. I have a job. I make money. I drink a lot, or I don't have any real friends, or I don't really do anything but watch TV. I don't know much about myself, or I don't take care of myself in ways that other people are taking care of themselves. But I don't need therapy. People would tell me, and our relationships would be toxic because they wanted to change me. But here are some characteristics of some behaviors rather, that you might notice in people that might be harmful or hurtful to you. And that's how we'll describe it going forward. They're behaviors that people do that might be hurtful and harmful to you. They're not toxic people. So there's 8 of them. And the first one I have is the strong silent type. The strong silent type may be the friend that withholds emotions, making it difficult to connect on a deeper level. Boy, I know those people. I used to be one of those people too. I think those people who are strong and silent are really afraid to open up and share. And maybe they're not afraid to be hurt by the person, but they're afraid that their feelings won't matter, or that they're afraid that the image of them holding back, being strong and silent, being stoic, is going to get ruined, and they're attached to that image. They're holding on really tight to it. So they're not going to let it go. They're not going to share anything about what's going on with you. I had a friend who did that fairly recently. They're just not sharing. But there's something there that they're not sharing. And it happens, and it doesn't make our relationships closer. And it's pretty hurtful if you're a person who's looking on the inside, or you're looking on the outside trying to get in. And you're like, this is supposed to be a friendship. So those people also show up as the therapist friend. They're always listening to everybody else's problems, but they don't have any of their own. So they could show up that way too. So that's a strong silent type. Number 2 is the brooding insecure type. The brooding insecure friend may seek reassurance incessantly, draining your emotional battery. Is it okay? Is it good? Do you like it? Please be honest with me. I can take it. For real? Those people don't even trust you when you tell them the truth. They've got something else going on in their own minds about their own experiences with you. They believe they're making up everything that you say. Like, they're making up your thoughts. They don't give you an opportunity to share your thoughts. Whatever you say, they're going to challenge it. Even if you say it's good and you mean it, they don't believe it. It's a drain. And it hurts your relationship with them because you're trying to be honest and connect with them, and they just don't hear you. Pretty awful situation. We have number 3, the user. This friend seeks relationships as a transaction, whether it's borrowing money, constantly seeking favors, or exploiting your skills and resources. This user always looks to gain something. The imbalance of give and take can lead to feelings of resentment and exhaustion. Well, yeah, you always coming up over my place, eating all my food. You're always asking me to drive you around somewhere, not giving me any gas money. You don't respect my time. You don't respect my energy. You're a user. We usually get really mad at these people because we can actually really see like the damage that is done. We get really mad because like we look at our bank account and we're like, dang, you don't have any money. You can't ever contribute to food, but you always come over here and you eat my stuff. We always see those and we get frustrated. So I think those ones are pretty easily identifiable and really easy to get mad at because we can say, this is the thing that you did. So that's the user. And then there's the leech. The leech is similar to the user. The leech friend constantly relies on you for emotional support. They may unload their problems without reciprocating or showing interest in your life. So, hey, I've got problems of problems after problems. I've just had the worst day, and I'm just going to tell you all about it. I'm going to tell you all about how I need your support, how I want you to pay attention to me. These people want you to really pay attention to them, and anything else you ever say is not interesting. I think the people who do this leeching behavior, they do a lot of interrupting. They want to let you know that what you're saying is not important, but what they're saying is important. They don't have space or energy for you. They have to talk, you have to listen. And you start a conversation about interrupt. I've done that quite a few times in my life, so it doesn't feel great. So I'd recommend that you don't do it. So that's the leech. Number 5 is the negative Nelly. And this is one of the traits that I definitely sat in. The negative Nelly, they constantly bring their pessimism. Whether it's complaining, criticizing, or always seeing the downside, this friend can drag down your mood and outlook on life. That was me. I was looking down. I wouldn't even look forward when I walked. I would look down at the ground all the time. And one day somebody asked me, why are you looking down? Well, sometimes I find money. That was my reason for looking down. But sometimes I did find money. But I mean, really, I was pessimistic. I didn't believe that good things would happen to me. I didn't think people liked me, all this stuff. So if people also did something that was great and fabulous, I'd just be looking on the dark side, be looking on the bad side, looking for something to go wrong. So this friend will drag you down in your mood and your outlook on life. I was definitely that person. I really tried hard to keep it to myself, though. But when I opened my mouth, it was just not fun. It's not good. Womp, womp. So that was number 5, the negative Nelly. Number 6 is the drama queen. The drama queen seems to follow this person wherever they go. Whether it's personal issues, whether it's conflict, whether it's unnecessary chaos, the drama queen creates a toxic stew of mess. Like a toxic stew, like bubbling, green, gooey mess. So that's the drama queen. And I think that's pretty self-explanatory. You look at any of these TV shows where they're, what is it called? Live action TV shows? Or they're non-scripted, unrehearsed TV shows. I'm not editing this out. Just like those TV shows where like the Real Housewives and stuff like that, they have to create some kind of drama to get attention, to get reactions, and there's something is always happening to them. Something always happens to them, and which they have to tell people about. Oh my God, this is it. I can't believe this happened to me, and stuff like that. So the drama queen will take these emotions and they will heighten them. And it's usually in a way that doesn't feel good. Of course, we're talking about toxic behavior, so it doesn't feel good. It's not like we get to hype up the joy that's happening in our lives. That doesn't really happen with the drama queen, unless there's something bad about somebody's expressing their joy. So that's the drama queen. Number 7 is the critic. These people will tear you down rather than build you up. So this friend is really quick to point out the flaws, or they'll offer you some unsolicited advice, or maybe they'll undermine your confidence. Now, this is what those people do. I think if you're a people pleaser, this is one of the things that I talked about as a people pleaser on one of my videos on TikTok. If you follow me on TikTok, you'll see it as like the number 1 video that I have out there. But I talked about, tearing people down rather than building them up, because I was terrified that if I couldn't help them, if they were be able to do something without me, then I wouldn't be useful. And that was terrifying. So I wanted to make sure to tear them down. Rawr, tear them down. So these critics, they're stuck in their own way. And I think that, watching out for them, just because, I was a critic and You might feel sorry for them or whatnot. Because I'm speaking from my own experience. Like, people would just let me go, and I'm like, okay, that sucks. Well, I don't know why. I'm a good friend. No, I'm not. No, I'm not. I'm undermining your confidence. I want to point out your flaws. I want to do those things that make you feel insecure as I'm feeling insecure. So if you encounter those people, please certainly let them go. Take it as a word from me. They will get over it. They will figure it out. Because I did. Send them my way, actually. So that's the critic, number 7. And then finally, we have the gossip rebel. While sharing stories can be a part of your friendship, the gossip rebel takes it to an extreme. Man, this friend thrives on spreading rumors, betraying confidences, and creating an atmosphere of distrust. I've never had people like this in my circle. I don't believe that I've had people like this in my circle who talked way about me outside of my circle. But I mean, generally, we all talk shit about each other in our circles. Like, we all just talk crap about each other. Because we are all just like not insecure or not secure, not able to find anything joyful. And if somebody found something joyful, then we have to point it out as a thing that, oh, why'd you do that? Or what is this? Or here, how about this bad thing that might happen with it? So I wouldn't say that I rolled with a bunch of gossipy people in the sense that they're putting things online and talking about this and that way, but maybe they'll talk behind my back, and maybe I did the same thing. I know I did the same thing. I did the same thing, talking behind their back and stuff like that. So that's the gossip rebel. So, I just want to say that wanted to wrap this up because I think that the toxic friendships or those behaviors that you see in people that you want to change because they don't feel good to you, that's considered toxicity to me in my book. But these behaviors, the first step is to identify what it is that you want and what you don't want. So when you identifying these toxic behaviors, if you see people in your life that are doing these kind of things, what I'd like you to do is consider yourself and how you feel about them. Don't hang on to people even though you've been together for a couple of decades or, a few years, and you just want to give them a chance. If they're doing something right now that demonstrates any of those behaviors that don't feel good to you, and you try to change them, it's been 2 years, you try to change them, it's going to cause you a lot of pain, and they're going to be frustrated with you. So if you're the toxic friend and you notice these behaviors in yourself, make an effort to change these behaviors. Because you're the only one that can. If you're confused about why people aren't inviting you out, they don't want to hang out with you or talk to you, it's probably because you might be exhibiting some of these behaviors, right? So just pay attention. You're not right or wrong. You just ask yourself these questions like, are you impacting the world in a way that you desire? If you want people to hang out with you and you're doing behaviors that are uncomfortable to them, many of these toxic behaviors or traits that you probably wouldn't enjoy. If you're doing those, then consider that you are not impacting the way of the world and you want to, and you can make that change. You can just go ahead and make that change. And if you're surrounded by toxic friends, of course, the thing to do is to focus on you and let those people go. It might be scary. You might be alone for a little bit, but that's why I'm here as a social connections coach. Consume all of my content. Have a conversation with me. Do what it is that you need to do, but don't stay stuck in those patterns of toxicity. Let's create a new possibility. I'll be right back with the Answer Reddit question. Hey, this is Coach Lee Hopkins here. I just want to let you know that you're awesome and your feelings matter. I know the holidays are fast approaching, and if you're going home to a family to be surrounded by people who don't believe that your feelings matter, and you constantly get caught up in the fighting and the frustrations, the woulda, coulda, shouldas, the obligations that you have with family, I want to empower you to break those generational patterns of disdain and distrust. I will be releasing content from my masterclass, Friends with Family. This content from Friends with Family is going to help you develop skills to be more grounded in yourself so that you can actually connect with your family. You are going to learn to create more connecting and curious conversations. You'll also learn how to navigate high drama topics without getting drawn into a conflict. Now, this course is not going to fix deep-seated problems that you might have with your family members, and it won't heal any traumas that you've experienced. It's going to help you communicate more authentically, to empower you to have regular conversations and actually connect with your family. It's my sincere hope that more of us out there who are breaking those generational patterns to not just stop the pain from moving forward, but to really become friends with our family. If you want to be a part of this, check the link in the show notes. All right, now it's time for the Reddit friendship advice question. If you have a friendship advice question that you think I should answer, tag me in it on Reddit. My handle is Brilliant and Resilient. That's Brilliant, the letter N, Resilient. For this particular episode, I went to a different subreddit because there happens to be a whole subreddit or two dedicated to toxic friends. So I wanted to check it out. My friend never asks how I am or if I'm okay, but she expects everybody to ask her. They're asking for advice. Seriously, I don't know what to do. She never, ever asked me. She never asks if I'm okay and knows I'm struggling a lot. She's struggling too, and I always comfort her and tell her I'm there for her and I care about her. But whenever I talk about my feelings, she just changes the topic or says something like, it makes me feel like shit. It does. And I feel like there's no point in even telling her anymore. Whenever I forget to ask her or I don't ask how she's doing, she gets all weird on me and doesn't talk to me. One time she didn't talk to me for a week because of it. And this isn't a case of she doesn't know how to confront emotions. She makes everything about herself and only talks about her and what she wants. I need advice on what the fuck to do. There's a lot of profanity in this episode because that's how I feel about toxicity. Okay, they're asking for advice. I'm just curious about what these people have suggested to for the advice. One of it says, your quote, friend lacks empathy and probably doesn't know how to be a friend. I made a huge mistake by believing people I help were friends. They're just users. Just a thought. The Redditor poster who posted this says, thank you for this. And the response is, well, it's not fun to discover that about people, but I wish you all the best. Okay. Interesting observation that I have here. This person who has posted about the friend who doesn't listen to them shared this with the interwebs. And the only response that they got was something that completely ignored their feelings. I think that's wild. I think that's very interesting to notice that. But okay, so I noticed that they're not getting their needs met by the internet or the friend. But maybe by listening to this podcast, if they happen to, they'll understand that definitely they're in a toxic relationship as described by the internet, by described pop culture. Your friend is exhibiting behaviors that we do not desire. We're not interested in. We want to see them do something different. And we also want to change them. We want to change their behaviors. So that's toxic. What should you do? Well, I teach people to really turn inward and look at the intuition, focus on how they feel about the experiences. So you can't change anybody else. That's like number one. You can't change that person. You can't stop them from doing the things that they're doing, but you can start doing something different for yourself to move out of those spaces where people are constantly doing things that hurt you, upset you, right? What should I do? Immediately stop talking to her. Immediately. Expediently. Yesterday. Stop. At least, if you don't want to do that, it's all you that has to do the work. You have to make the adjustments. If you don't want to stop talking to her, adjust your expectations. Time after time after time, your friend has shown you that they are just not capable of meeting your needs. Time after time after time, they have shown up as the leech. I want all of your space, all of your time, your energy. I don't have any for you. That's what they're doing. What can you do to change them? Nothing. What can you do to feel better? Get out of the space. So it seems like you're really hurt and upset by this, your friend. But you want to get out of the space. Can you do that? Are you uncomfortable with that? Will you be okay with it? I hope that you will, because there's no changing that person. Getting rid of this person might be that you have to be alone. You might have to be away from other people for a while to go heal, to go relax. But you want somebody to understand how you feel about your experiences. You've been holding on to your feelings for such a long, long time, and you're going to burst. I talk about this in the cycle of loneliness on my presentations, the cycle of loneliness, and we're hiding how we feel. We can't get the connection. People aren't listening to us and stuff like that. We try really hard, but it's not happening. It's not happening here. So the last thing I'm going to say, because I said it a few times before, I don't know if you heard it, you may have missed it, but you need to leave that person alone. Go heal yourself, get away from that person, or at least change those expectations that you have for them to listen to you, because they've told you, they've shown you, they're not capable or they're not interested. Redditor, thank you so much for asking your question. I know that you didn't ask me to answer it, but I did, and I hope that it helps. Best of luck to you. Take care. My name is Coach Lee Hopkins, and you have been listening to the Patterns of Possibility podcast. You can find me at patternsofpossibility.com and on all social media at Patterns of Possibility. And as always, I want to encourage you to be yourself, live your truth, and there you'll make lasting friendships.